Forge Gang! I'm a hard man! Alright, so this is the real reason why I was placed on probation. Because, my probation officer, who is Jasmine Salazar in San Angelo, not her, but her CSOD supervisor is a Freemason. So I don't have his name, but when I get it, I'm going to dox him. So he is a third-degree Freemason, Jasmine Salazar's supervisor at Concho Valley Community Supervision Authority, or Supervision. Again, it's Concho County Supervision. Her supervisor is a third-degree, second-degree Freemason. I just wanted to get that out. What's up, Jeff Barry? Go! Forge Gang! Wolf Gang! Hardman! Let's go! Alright, so, the alleged reason that I was placed on probation was because they say that I shot a gun in the city limits. However, this is not true, because originally, they said that they were going to take me off, and then all of a sudden, they changed it and gave me 3 years of full probation, adjudicated probation. So, what actually happened, and I have a good reason to know why they changed their position, was because, me and Reformed Stoic posted Southern Israelite videos on IP2 and on Bitwave. I posted them on Bitwave myself, alone, and I did it with Reformed Stoic on IP2. So that was the reason why the Freemasons decided, in Tom Green County, decided to put me on 3 years of probation. They were going to do 5 years. They kept changing it around, but they decided to go on 3. Now, I'm starting to talk and come out more about this stuff, and all of a sudden, they want me to go to this administrative hearing. So, at 10 o'clock in the morning of June the 23rd, Jasmine Salazar of the Concho Valley Supervision Authority has summoned me to do an administrative hearing, or to have an administrative hearing. And her supervisor is a third-degree Freemason. I'm going to find out his name, and I'm going to do an IRL and talk about him and try to get some more proof about him being a Freemason. But Chuck Dean exposed Drake Alden Shelton as being a second-degree or first-degree Freemason. Drake Alden Shelton joined the lodge in 2003. Oh, I'm sorry, 2008. He joined the lodge through his Presbyterian seminar in 2008, and he went to a lodge somewhere in Georgia, and he moved from Georgia to Tennessee. I'm sorry, to Louisville, Kentucky in 2009. That's when he became a Freemason. And his license plates trace back to Anchorage, Alaska, 2016. So he was trained as a FBI, CIA intelligence asset to perform a second Waco-like incident in the state of Iowa or the state of California, where he was going to have his followers perform terroristic actions and molest women to breed offspring. The plan was to bring foreign women into the country and get them green cards and use them for concubinage purposes and to commit terrorist acts against the state, and for the state to send counter-terrorism units, and for there to be a second Waco incident in the state of Iowa or in the state of California. So, the reason why Southern Israelite backed away was because he had a falling out with fellow Freemason Chris McCombs. So Southern Israelite had a big falling out with Chris McCombs in 2020. Oh, by the way, hello there, Pimpin' Pat. Yeah, we know that you're Pimpin' Pat, buddy. You live in the same part of the country as Pimpin' Pat. You have a daughter like Pimpin' Pat, and your voice sounds exactly the same as Pimpin' Pat, William Gloryhole. Also, your last name is real gay. Oh, by the way, thanks for sending mail in the UPS for Nikki Gus. I got in touch with the IPS or UPS people, and they found out that that was the wrong mail, so they're going to stop sending your shit to my address, Pimpin' Pat. But what's up, Pimpin' Pat? So anyways, the reason why this second Waco incident with Drake Alden Shelton did not transpire was because he had a falling out with Chris McCombs, the perfidious Lord of Alchemy, as he is known on YouTube. They had a falling out. And also, Southern Israelite was unable to get funding from the government because he had a falling out with Chris McCombs. People were putting his videos and Jay Dyer's videos on IP2 and Bitwave, which was me and Reform Stoic. We were doing that. I was the only one doing it on Bitwave, though. But I did it with Stoic on IP2, always.win, on the communities.win. So, all of a sudden, Southern Israelite closed down his YouTube account. Apparently, the government stopped giving him funding. They shut down his funding, and his connections to Anchorage, Alaska, and his connections to the lodge in Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, I believe, and Louisville, Kentucky, his contacts shut down his funding, so he had no money, and a lot of his followers were going over to Jay Dyer's platform. So, all of a sudden, because I put Southern Israelite and Jay Dyer videos on IP2, they put me on adult probation. So that's the real actual reason. I actually streamed the trial on IP2. I mean on Bitwave. And they did absolutely nothing. I live streamed my trial, which was on Zoom TV. It was done on Zoom. I streamed that. I sniped that on Bitwave. I'm not going to admit that I actually did that. I'm just like, this is hyperbole. This is like Minecraft. So imagine we're in Minecraft right now, but yeah. So anyways, they're not going to do jack shit to me because they know that I know too much. They know I know too much, bro, and like, so that's why they hired like these people, Pimp and Pat, Burger Boy and stuff, to like keep tabs on what I do online. So all of a sudden, as soon as I say that William Gloryhole is really Pimp and Pat or Tom Stewart from IP2, all of a sudden they're going to put me on this administrative hearing bullshit. They're going to give me this administrative hearing crap all of a sudden. So, what's going on, or what is actually happening here, is Intrepid Corps and Baru Enterprises have hired agents, or they have hired trained Freemasonic agents to try to set me up to be crazy. They have set up listening devices and recording devices outside of my house and have disguised them as police speedometers, which is really bizarre because there's literally no other speedometer anywhere in my town besides right outside of my backyard. So, for one thing, they're trying to make me the new Terry A. Davis. So Terry A. Davis was apparently this really high, above normal IQ individual that believed that the government was stalking him, and he died under mysterious circumstances. And so it seems that these hired, trained agents and intel assets, they're trying to set me up as the next Terry A. Davis lolcow. They're also trying to set up a Kiwi Farms thread and saying that I'm a pedophile, and they're copying a lot of the same script that was done to Justin Fushanu. Justin Fushanu was in the Cistercian Order, and he gained a bunch of knowledge about the intel establishment in London. He was very well connected. And when he went to New Jersey and to Maryland and left the Cistercian Order, he was no longer protected. And one of the things that they did was they tried to paint him as molesting an underage boy. They tried to claim that Justin Fushanu had molested an underage boy, and he had engaged in a homosexual act with an underage boy, and that the state was planning to arrest him, but allegedly he committed suicide. In reality, he was killed by the state. He was killed by the state police or by state authorities to cover up the knowledge that he knew about the establishment and his connections, and they played it off as a suicide. So, basically, since they cannot actually arrest me or try to get me on some kind of trumped-up charges for an act of terrorism or for drug substance abuse, the method of which they are trying to do now is to make this into a Truman Show. So these hired agents, Pimp and Pat, Benjamin Berger, who's counterintelligence, have been hired to discredit my platform and the Forge Gang platform and try to turn it into something akin to the Truman Show. If you have watched the Truman Show, It's about these people who feel that they need to have quasi-celebrity status in order to feel important. Everything that happens in their personal life is purposefully staged. They are 24/7 on camera, and they are always in the process of acting, even though they are convinced in their minds that they are not necessarily acting. So this is the Truman Show. So what these guys right here, this William Glory Hole guy, this paid Chinese, Russian, Israeli troll here, who's Pimpin' Pat, by the way. It's just another alt that he uses. They're trying to portray my live streams like it is the Truman Show. So since they cannot actually debunk any of the knowledge or any of the stuff that I have talked about on my streams, because they don't have the academics, they don't have the knowledge or the theological understanding to actually discredit me, they try to portray me in the light of a Terry A. Davis or a Justin Foshanu, and try to mop me up in that kind of manner. A Christian lolcow, aka the same tactics that were done to Terry A. Davis and Justin Foshanu. Also, they're trying to basically turn my IRL streams into the Truman Show. So, if you watch Utopia 2013, you'll notice that in every opening scene of those episodes on the United Kingdom Utopia 2013, you will see the Ukrainian flag. The opening skyline has the same exact color scheme as the Ukrainian bicolor. And so what is going on here is that this show is purposefully predicting the Ukrainian-Russian war of 2022. They will do this stuff, for example, on The Simpsons, where they will show stuff about buildings being destroyed and blown up before 9/11 actually happens. This happens very often. So, Andy Dick apparently is the one that is the pro-establishment figure who is involved in IP2. He has connections to Captain Content, Chicken Andy, and Gucci's. So, they're basically creating what is akin to an IP2 version of the Truman Show, and they are connected to Andy Dick. Andy Dick is an actor and an actual celebrity from Hollywood who has contacted and has directly made contact and is probably the one that is putting these IP2 people on the payroll of the government. You drove Cyrax off YouTube. Very great accompaniment. Money is money, dude. We drove him off YouTube. Some of those items we mailed to you have devices as well. No wonder you can't even touch Forge Gang! We're too hard! Boah ha 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 ha! Moo ha 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 ha! So, William Glory Hole is actually either Burger Boy or Pimpin' Pat. And what he's trying to do is he is trying to derail my live streams and try to turn how I live in my IRL and live streams into something akin to the Truman Show. In reality, people that need to have or gain celebrity status is, in fact, living an empty, meaningless life. Real, genuine people paid the papacy, and he was forced to renounce his heresy, or he would be burned at the stake. In fact, it was the Protestants who were the most influenced by Joachim of Fiore and by Meister Eckhart. Catholic scholars were not actually really that influenced by the teachings of Joachim of Fiore. It was actually the Protestants that were more influenced. For example, okay, I don't think that I got everything. Society. Yeah, to drive Gnosticism and Hermetical traditions into Western society. What you see with the Enclosure Acts in Scotland, England, and Wales, and later in Ireland and the rest of Western Europe, and the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century was purposefully the end goal of these different branches of Protestantism. For example, the Quakers, who were formed in the 1640s, were actually big drivers for the end of slavery and for support for industrialization, for free labor, and for debt, and for the spread of debt usury. In the wake of the decline and demise of the Augustinian tradition and the Aristotelian tradition, Neoplatonism, Gnosticism, and the Hermetical traditions came in and seeped into Western society through Freemasonry and then through intelligence agencies that were directly in collaboration with the Freemasons, or at least the higher orders of Freemasonry. As a matter of fact, the Freemasons broke off and formed a false dialectic. On the one side were the Scottish Rite, who promoted the Jacobin tradition, and the York Rite, which promoted and supported the Girondin tradition. The Girondins and the Jacobins were the primary driving forces of the French Revolution. The Jacobins were the left, and they would later influence the doctrines of Marx and the Bolsheviks and communism, and the Girondins would influence Ayn Rand, the libertarians, and fascism, as well as Nazism. The ultimate end goal was to weaken and destroy the position of the Christian church in the West, open the door for the disorientation of mass propaganda, and ultimately drive the influence of a capitalist and socialist semiotic synarchy. But the driving forces of this is the Anglo-American establishment and the Rockefellers, and the primary promoters of the various different Protestant denominations are in fact the Rockefellers and the Fords and various other free capitalist barons or industrial barons who want to use the evangelical Protestants to drive modernity and the legacy of the Industrial Revolution and destroy all forms of traditional ways of life. The Jesuit order were in fact originally a feudal Augustinian order that was pushing for the counter reformation and the reinstitution of the old feudal church. But the Jesuits were taken over and subverted in the late 18th century by the mercantile orders and by the Jacobins, and they were subverted and they fell under the control of the Hermetical traditions and the Freemasons. And from then on, the Jesuits became the prime factor for the subversion of the Roman Catholic Church. By 1869, the Vatican had virtually ceased being an Augustinian traditional organization and was a fully modernized corporate and effectively dysfunctional church. Vatican II brought an end to the Western Augustinian tradition in 1960 to 62. That was the death knell of the Augustinian traditions that had been founded back in the days of Saint Benedict. So I hope that you have learned something about this. Boone, you have a job for the Fed wasting life here. You're all so jealous. Nice anecdotal evidence, BTW. Very sure you're not lying. Dude, these guys are so hilarious, bro. Funny, I was in Texas a few weeks ago and had no issues with internet. Then again, I have a job and can afford actual high-speed internet. Uxnet is high-speed, dumbass. Let's go, Fed. Texas internet, you Freemasons fail. What is that about, Boone? Let's see here. Wonder how that happened. Oopsie, stream issues. Yeah, you see how these feds try to interrupt the stream? That's just DDoSing, bro. Some J-Danks idiot is, or Cyrax idiot is DDoSing me. My nigga, you sound like a nerd. Well, he's pimpin' Pat, dude. Of course he's a freaking nerd, bro. He works full-time for the FBI. Keep trying, slow boy. My voice sounds nothing like those two guys. Yeah, you sound exactly like Pimpin' Pat. Yeah, you're hard for 12-year-olds, I hear. So, do you have any proof or confirmative evidence to demonstrate that otherwise pathetic empty straw man claim? That's just ad hominems. Look, William Gloryhole, sir, ad hominems are not an argument. Ad hominems are not a substantial propositional argument. Please go back to school and learn how to make a resounding proposition that actually makes sense. Yeah, what is this one? 5150 holds work well. Oh, look at this, dude. 5150. Oh, this guy is threatening to throw me into a mental institution because he doesn't like what I'm saying online. Well, boo-hoo, bitch. We're hard men here, boy. You better get ready, soft one, because it's only hard men in this hood. You're messing with the wrong hood, boy. All right, well, I think that went well. If there's nothing else to be said, I guess that's it. Ciao.